everybody and welcome here to the home of Jan the Smelling Sun Champion, and I'm very excited, Jan the Smelling Sun Champion, because of course I'm the Ferrari's biggest fan, and this is the time of the year that we are going to our true home Grand Prix, named after our founder and obviously his dear son, the so-called Autodromo, Internazionale, Enzo and Dino Ferrari. Yes, it is time for the Imola Grand Prix, aka the Ferrari Grand Prix, oh yay! And in this very exciting and exclusive race introduction, we will tell you everything about this magnificent race, which we will see for how long we can keep it on the Formula 1 calendar, but definitely in the 2025, the 2025 edition, the round 7 of the championship, we will try to replicate some of the most amazing races that we had, especially in the Michael Schumacher's era, and claim our exclusive 9 victory as Scuderia Ferrari over here, again in the Emilia-Romagna region, you know, in basically very close to the San Marino, again on the Adriatic coast of Adriatic Sea coast, obviously on the eastern part of Italy. And yeah, we are very excited about this race because again it is the home race. And you know, we are quite lucky that Imola has returned into the calendar. That's one of the very big positives, obviously, of that pandemic-induced 2020 season. And yeah, it is a great track, loved, you know, by the fans and the drivers alike. You know, it is the old school track. It's relatively narrow, but again, it features that long straight, obviously, you know, heading down into that infamous first, you know, chicane, the Senna S's name, obviously, after the great driver who lost sadly his life there in what used to be the Tamburello corner. And we will, you know, show it to you. We will again this weekend will be actually only the first weekend, surprisingly or not, of this amazing 2025 season, where we will actually, you know, go for the standard Grand Prix, and all of the races, right, will be done exactly the way it should be. So for free practice 1, we will have the race introduction. That's how it was meant to be. For the free practice 2, we will then have the hot lap. That's how it was meant to be. For the free practice 3, we will then have the red hot lap. That's how it was meant to be. And of course, that's how it was pretty much at all of the previous Grand Prix. But then the qualifying will be actually that real Imola qualifying, because Imola was also round 7, obviously, of the last year's championship. So you can then see it, you know, that real qualifying and Imola, as I've done it, as I hopefully planned it for my first ever Imola pole position, because I've only raced here scarcely, but obviously know the track very well, especially, you know, the lovely names of the corners. And yeah, then the race will be the actual Imola race, you know, that we've done, where again we'll be aiming to win in front of the Tifosi, right? And maybe not just once, as you will learn, because yeah, Imola being obviously Ferrari's home circuit, you know, also provided quite a lot of interesting spectacles, especially as far as the F1 24 simulator simulation game goes. So over here, we will take a look at the track. You know, we will introduce it to you. You know, see how well you know we've been, how successful we've been over here, and we will also take a look at the current drivers and the constructor standings, and obviously what goals do we have as Scuderia Ferrari. Well, speaking of goals, you can guess, right? Of course, it's gonna be a victory, and hopefully 1-2 victory with a pole position, with the fastest lap. That's what we are definitely aiming for over here, right? As we are now, this is actually also the first race of not just the second triple header of the season, but on the European continent. So as you can see, almost 1/3 of the season gone, and yeah, we are here around the Mediterranean Sea, and we will basically be traveling from east to west, with the middle stop obviously being the crown jewel of Formula 1, the Monaco Grand Prix. And we hope to be collecting lots of these Formula 1 Grand Prix winner trophies, because that's exactly what we are looking for, you know, here in the Imola account, the Ferrari Grand Prix, right? So over here, what can we tell you about the race, right? So you know, for me, you know, I have to say, you know, I absolutely love the fact that in some of the countries like the United States that we've just returned from, you know, that we have the 3 races there, and in Italy the 2 races, because again, this is where the racing heritage is, and you know, lots of the fans, the Tifosi will be there, people are passionate about it, and it's just a pity that the calendar is so jam-packed, so that we will see, you know, how exactly we can fit Imola into the calendar. But again, it would be a real pity if we lost it, so we have to enjoy enjoyed, right? We lost the 2023 edition as it was flooded away, so to speak. So, it's great that it is here on the calendar, and we as Ferrari had a great success over here. So, the Imola Grand Prix made its debut on the calendar in 1980. And that was simply due to the fact that obviously the aging Monza circuit, that was roughly 50 years old at the time, had to be renovated, right? And as a result, it obviously at the time would obviously take, a couple of years, at the earliest. So as a result, Imola was then given a green light. It was much loved by basically everybody, and stay on the calendar until Michael Schumacher retired in 2006 as the San Marino Grand Prix, even though it's actually not located in the San Marino itself. But again, San Marino, we went to Rimini, probably, that famous resort on the Adriatic Sea back in 2011 with my family. And yeah, it's a lovely region. Obviously, the sea is green, it's Adriatic, so it has a little bit of that emerald color. But it is a great place where you can go racing, and it is a proper home, especially for Scuderia Ferrari being located nearby, obviously in Maranello, right? So the track was there on the calendar. We had some famous races there at the beginning, but especially for Michael Schumacher, right? One of the reasons why Imola is so loved by the Ferrari fans is because it is not just named after originally Dino Ferrari, which was obviously Enzo's Ferrari son, who died only at the age of 24, and then obviously Enzo Ferrari when he passed in 1988. Then that's why the track is called the Autodromo of Enzo e Dino Ferrari, or Autodromo Internazionale Enzo e Dino Ferrari, because we love to say it in Italian. And Michael Schumacher, who is by far the most successful driver and a real icon and my childhood hero, and the hero of many Ferrari fans, has won here 6 times. And we have some wonderful memories from the 5 titles that he has won pretty much every time Michael was racing here, including when, for example, his mom passed away in 2003. He would still race, he would still deliver fantastic result, win for Scuderia Ferrari, and it just became legendary and have to be repeated. But hopefully it will be this year, as we will obviously put Lewis Hamilton with Charles Leclerc there as our lineup, and we will see what exactly we will be able to do in Imola, right? So as you will see in that hot lap, where I will introduce it, it's a lot about riding the curbs, right? So there are lots of chicanes, that you do, have to master, 3 of them in total, and it is absolutely important that you can always extend the track, as much as you can. With regards to the setup, it's also important that, for example, you have a really good top speed if you're behind the cars. Nowadays, there was always a chicane before heading down to the main straight, but that has been changed. So once in 2006, Imola lost the place on the Formula 1 calendar and only returned during obviously the pandemic, when it was a very convenient location, and it provided kind of a newer kind of the circuit, because it's now one of the shortest circuits due to the fact that you don't have that final chicane, right? So basically coming out of the Rivalza, which are the 2 90-degree corners, you are then heading towards the start-finish straight and all the way pretty much to the Senna Assist, that infamous Tamburello, as I did mention before. So yeah, the track lap record obviously being held by Lewis Hamilton, which is obviously our Ferrari driver now. It will be interesting, to see how well we can do. So let's take a look at it over here at our beautiful Scuderia Retina iMac. We will show you exactly how the circuit looks like, and then talk about how successful we were in terms of the pole positions and the fastest laps. And again, the Imola was basically given a 5-year contract, right, when it returned, so maybe could have locked it up for a bit more. But because in 2023, due to the flooding, that's why we have a race here in 2025, and we will definitely enjoy driving with the SF1000T 818 Formula 1 Racing Simulator. It will be a real treat. So let's take a look at it, as we will turn our beautiful Scuderia Retina iMac over here around, and you can then see how it looks like over here. So this is the track, right, that you have over here. The race will take place over the course of 63 laps. Again, the track made its debut in 1980. and you can see that it's a relatively fast. The lap record 1:15.484. That's a really competitive lap time. So you can see there's only one DRS zone. Hopefully it will be possible to overtake. So you can see that the main straight or the start-finish straight is actually a bit bended, but you will see when I'm racing it, for example, on the simulator, or you will see that during the race, you know, it doesn't really matter, the track is quite wide, it is where all the fans will be, all the Tifosis, obviously also all the executives, right, you know, basically all the Ferrari family will be there. You know, Imola has done a great job, I think, you know, with expanding and developing that start-finish straight. This is the real heart of the circuit, right? Yeah, then you basically go through the Senna S's, you know, then you have the chicane heading down into the hairpin, you know, where, for example, Michael Schumacher would show a couple of rivals, like, for example, Juan Pablo Montoya, who's the boss, right? And then you're heading up the hill and down to Acqua Minerale over here, because, you know, I love this corner. That's obviously where you have that river, you know, flowing just nearby, so it's called like a mineral river, source of the mineral water, which Italy is very famous exporter of. And then heading over here to the chicane, and then the Piratella chicane down then to the Rivazzas, which are over here. Obviously, when you're racing, the detection point surprisingly is in front of the Rivazzas, so you always have to make sure that you are within 1 second. It's a great overtaking spot, but a great overtaking spot is also heading, I would say, down to the Rivazza over here, and even into the chicane, potentially down to the hairpin. So over here on the official Scuderia Ferrari website, you can see how, for example, the curbs are designed in the Ferrari flag and in the national colors. It looks absolutely amazing. And here are our stats. So 8 victories, 6 courtesy, obviously, of Ferrari's greatest driver, Michael Schumacher. Before he's gonna be surprised by me, right? Yes, because obviously I always drive with passion. 6 pole positions though, so again we have a really good record. You know, considering that we haven't raced here hardly 30 times in total. 10 fastest laps, so it's very likely that you know, we will get a fastest lap. We are almost certain to be on the podium. We were on the podium 24 times in total. That will be actually the bare minimum what Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc will have to achieve again, you know, in this Ferrari fashion. We will see if there will be any new Ferrari fashion there or not. Because again, if we are not gonna win or at least finish on a podium, this drivers' championship is gonna be really challenging. So this is how it looks like at the moment. So you can see Oscar Piastri leading with 131 points, Lando Norris 16 points down, 115 points. We will also be competing against the reigning world champion Max Verstappen, third, 99 points. Obviously, he's won here before, equals Senna's record of consecutive pole positions at the track. He passed away. That was kind of symbolic, right? Last year. How long ago is that, right? Now the Formula One is much differently competitive. George Russell 93 points, 4th place. Charles Leclerc is 5th at 53 points. So for Leclerc, it will be important to try to win. Look, he's won the Italian GP 2 times in 2019 and 2024. The Tifosi, we absolutely adore him. Obviously, he's like you know, the Ferrari prince, right? The Prince of Monaco. And it would be great if he could win over here. He would definitely need it in order to catch up, for example, to especially Russell Verstappen and eventually to the McLaren duo, because then he could go to 78 points, right? So, you know, you're 40 points behind Russell, you gotta get that gap. That's a bit worrying after 1/4 of the season. You gotta get that gap to the leading 4th and the 4th place driver to less than 25 points, which is less than 1 Grand Prix, right? The 6th, Andrea Kimi Antonelli, 48 points. I fully expect Lewis Hamilton, 7th, with 41 points, will overtake Antonelli, again, who replaced him at Mercedes-Benz. Obviously, we had that disappointing race in Miami. You could see, you know, just how much it means to Hamilton, you know, to do well, right? He wants a good teamwork, and yeah, hopefully Hamilton can make it on a podium. He always does great in sprints, and it's just a pity that you don't get that many points for sprints. Otherwise, Hamilton would be much higher with his victory and a 3rd place. Actually, if he would only calculate the sprint races, Lewis Hamilton would be the joint sprint championship leader with Oscar Piastri. Can you believe that? It's very cool, right? I think Formula One should definitely do this because, you know, it would add another dimension. It's kind of like in other sports, right? Especially in football, which is very popular in Italy, right? Where you always have the league, the cup, for example, right? The continental cups or the world cups, club world cups, that so to speak, so that you can win several trophies, not just aiming for one. So yeah. Lewis Hamilton, the joint sprint championship leader on 41 points. But yeah, I do believe that if he can get a 1-2, if he would finish second or even famously win his first true Grand Prix for the Tifosi, then we would be 5th and 6th, which we have to be. That's what we were supposed to be. That's where we were supposed to be after Miami. Then 8, Alexander Albon, 30 points, punching above his weight. 9 is Esteban Ocon with 14 points. 10, Lance Stroll, 14 points, having some torrid performances, but picking up the points where they offer themselves, especially in sprints or when cars get disqualified. 11 is then Yuki Tsunoda with 9 points. A bit disappointing for the Red Bull driver, showing just how challenging it is to drive that car. 12, Pierre Gasly, 7 points. 13, Carlos Sainz, 7 points. 14, Nico Hülkenberg, 6 points. 15, Oliver Behrman, obviously the Ferrari junior driver, 6 points, showing himself really well so far. And 16, Isaac Hadjar, 5 points. Then the people who didn't score, drivers who didn't score, Fernando Alonso, 0 points. He will definitely get off the mark. 18, Liam Lawson, 0 points. There are doubts about his future, but the biggest doubt is about Jack Doohan. At the time of the recording of this video, it wasn't confirmed if he will start the second fourth of the 2025 FIA Formula 1 season. Again, the gossip in the paddock is that he only has a contract for the first 6 races, the 2 sprints and the 6 Grand Prix, so only for the first 4 of the season. Maybe we will see Franco Colapinto making a debut. He's often likened to Ayrton Senna, despite being from Argentina, unlike Senna who was from Brazil, because of his outlooking and how he took the world of Formula 1 with a storm with his performance at the Italian Grand Prix at Monza. Should he return again for another Italian race, this time in Imola? We will see. It would be a bit of a pity for Doohan, who outqualified Gasly for the first time, obviously, back in Miami. And 20th, Gabriel Bortoleto, 0 points. Possibly could get a point spot for reigning F2 champion. This is a disappointing season so far. So, again, this is how it looks like in the Drivers' Championship. In the Constructors, in the teams, McLaren leading with 246 points. Second is Mercedes, 141 points. Not much will be changed there because there are 43 points on offer for if you get a 1-2. Third, Red Bull Racing, 105 points. For Ferrari, definitely we have 94 points, just 11 points behind Red Bull. Tsunoda underperforming, first up and hardly making it on the podium. We simply, have to become the fastest team over here. We are at home. I really hope we can do it, even though it's not for certain. But yeah, definitely we have to be ahead of Red Bull to be really third, which is where we belong so far on the account of the performances this season. And then, once we then go to Monaco, where again anything can happen and where I expect us to be very strong. And then from Barcelona, obviously with a couple of new rules coming into the play, Formula 1 could again turn red. The romantic Scuderia Red, Ferrari Red. And then we will be competing against 5th Williams, 37 points, 6 Haas, 20 points, 7 Aston Martin, 14 points, 8 Racing Bulls, 8 points, 9 Alpine, 7 points, and 10 Kick Sauber with 6 points. So over here, I'm sure you are looking forward to the Imola Grand Prix. This was the Teams Constructors Championship, the Drivers Championship, and this is how the circuit looks like. And you will see everything about it, obviously, in that hot lab. So definitely check it out. I will climb into the simulator, this SF1000T818 Formula 1 Racing Simulator, and show you how to master Autodromo, Internazionale, Enzo and Dino Ferrari, where I've only raced one previously. So in terms of my stats, they are not as decorated as the Scuderia Ferrari stats. I qualified 4th last time, lost obviously pole position a bit, bit of a vital line that I took going, into the hairpin over there, which was a bit disappointing because it would be great to be on pole. But yeah, had a great race, but obviously it was weather affected. So eventually I finished 18th without the fastest lap. But I was very competitive. Obviously, after Miami, there I claimed my first pole in the ground effect era. And with Imola, that was a great performance. Overall. But obviously, I didn't do well in the wet conditions. But it will be very different this year. I'm pretty sure. No matter if it's gonna be raining or if the sun is gonna be shining, it's gonna be the celebration. The celebration of not just Formula 1, but especially of Scuderia Ferrari, the most successful team in the history of Formula 1. And not just Formula 1, obviously, we, for example, celebrated the victory in the World Endurance Championship, the 6 hours of Imola just recently. So we are winning on all fronts. We are the most fashionable, the most beautiful, and the fastest cars in the world. And I really hope we can celebrate with a resounding victory in front of all the Tifosi fans at Autodromo, Internazionale, Enzo and Ferrari. Say it with me, guys. Let's go to Imola. Let's race. We are so excited. Forza Ferrari!